Hello students and the viewers. I welcome you all for the part 4 of my lecture series on lichens. Economic importance of lichens, the examination point of view, is an important question. Not just for that, for the sake of learning, it is very important to know that lichens are of immense use to the human beings. From this image you can see very beautiful colorful lichens. So they are not just nature's art, they are of high economic uses to the human beings. We are aware from the previous lectures that these lichens are valuable symbiotics and we can exploit something for our humans' benefits. And they are important for environment as well as the economy. Not just that, they are the ones which created the soil that we use it for very many purposes today, and without soil there's nothing, no agriculture, nothing. So lichens, they are the one of the main reasons for the soil formation. And even though we have many different technology to monitor the air quality, lichens are the pioneers where with the help of which we can monitor the air quality. Not all these things, but also they are used as food, fodder, nutrition, dyes, tannins, perfumes, cosmetics, brewing, distilleries, minerals, medicines, biodegradation agents, etc. In all these aspects, lichens, they play major role. So some traditional medicines that has been used even till today, and natural dyes in those days, and during famine time, the historically important survival food, and for biomonitoring also. So lichens as food, from the image you can see they are not the staple food of modern times. This image clearly shows that there is some famine conditions in the prehistoric time or historic times. That time they used lichens as a food, just a survival food. They have high carbohydrate content, but they are very low in proteins and vitamins. Lichens, they have an acid which is named as lichen acid. They can cause severe stomach upset. So that's why they soak them for 2-3 days or so, and they boil them thoroughly and they ferment them thoroughly, and then they make it as an edible one. Otherwise it will cause severe stomach infections, stomach problems. And what are all the lichens that were used as food, famine food? That is Iceland moss, which is used in the flour, marvel, and rock tripe, survival food, and reindeer moss. So in extreme scarcity this has been used. All of us are aware of Santa Claus coming in the reindeer chariot. So that is the reindeer which you can see in this picture. So these reindeers, they forage on these things. So certain recent scientific studies also show that they have a great potential as a prebiotic for our gut health. Lichens can also be used as a fodder, but before getting into the details, for some of you, if the bulleted points are fine, you can make use of it, and for some of you, if you find this mind map helpful, you can use this. In the examination point of view, this mind map has all the points that it's been discussed so far in the previous slide in the form of a mind map. So this kind of a flow chart and mind map will also helpful for you to score more marks. So famine food and the survival food, traditional use in some cultures, high carbohydrate, low protein, bitter lichen acids are present. So for like cooking, you have to soak them, boil them, and then the bitter taste is removed. The toxic compounds also will be removed. So we are not using them in the modern diet, but in the prehistoric time during drought conditions, that time it has been used. And research on polysaccharides say that lichen as a prebiotic which is good for health. And what are all the Iceland mosses that are used as a food that we have? They used as a flour. They dry it and you make it a powder and used as a flour for bread making and porridge making. And Umbilicaria is one of the species which is otherwise referred as a rock a tribe, which is used as a which was used as a survival food. And you have this Cladonia rangiferina. This is referred as a reindeer mouse, and this is also used only during the times of scarcity. So what I said in the previous slide, this time I have made it a different mind map or flowchart like type, so that whichever is easy for students, you can take it up. And kindly please learn to underline the genus and species names of all the scientific, botanical, biological names separately. Being biology students, botany and zoology students, we are supposed to underline the genus and the species name separately. Please don't forget it. So now we'll move on to the second aspect, that is lichens or fodder as fodder. So you see this image clearly shows a pasture where you have these animals are grazing. Similarly, lichen pastures where you can see these animals, musk oxen and moose and reindeers, they forage in these places. So that is called lichen pastures, full of, instead of grasses, you can see lichens present in a vast area. That is referred as lichen pastures, which you should understand first. So Arctic region, subarctic and boreal places, there are certain animals which can live only in those places. Those animals, they use or they eat these lichens as a winter survival resource. So we call that as a lichen pastures. And reindeers, these are the reindeers, otherwise they are referred as caribou. They are the prominent and dependent consumers of these lichens. As I said earlier, musk oxen and moose, they are also other wildlife which are foraging on these things. And as I said in the previous slide, it is high carbohydrate content containing lichens. So they are referred as high carbohydrate energy having it. And then during winter time it is very helpful. And in the ecosystem where you have this kind of severe snow for longer time, northern ecosystems, these presence of lichens, they are the cornerstone of these ecosystems. And these livelihood, herding livelihood, are thriving just because of these lichens. So major concern is that lichens, like grasses, they won't grow very fast. They will grow only very slowly. Say for instance, a few millimeter per year, you can see the growth. And if these reindeers and other wild animals, if they are keep on foraging, then they can destroy the lichen pasture so very easily. And Cladonia rangifera, reindeer mouse, is very important, which is a key species. So this is the thing. And boreal, for example, boreal forest, you should know what is this boreal forest. Arctic, subarctic, you may be aware of it. This is otherwise referred as taiga. It's a world's largest land biomass, this boreal forest. You can see them in high northern latitudes just below the Arctic regions. And as far as the climate is concerned, it is very long, bitterly cold winters and very short summers you will come across in those areas. And vegetation is concerned, you can see spruce, fir and pine, and these images are here, spruce, fir and pine images. When we talk in terms of nutrition from lichens, as I said earlier, so lichen, that is the carbohydrate in the abundant, is abundant in that, whereas the proteins and fats, vitamins, they are all very low. So you cannot consider this as a complete food, you can only consider this as an incomplete food. It doesn't have anything more than that, like high protein or good vitamin, it is not there. So only during scarcity you can use them. So this is the mind map where you can see it is not a regular human food, but it is mainly an energy source, certainly because of the high carbohydrate content. And you have lichen, which is a soluble fiber, which looks like starch. And limitations is that it is not having much of protein, very low proteins, very low fats, very low vitamins, and it is incomplete food source. It can only be used during famine and survival food, as a survival food, and it is used when other foods are not available. And as I said, it requires so much time soaking and boiling, so that to remove the bitterness and other acidic compounds, so that your stomach is protected. Otherwise it will have lots of stomach upsets. Lichen, not just that, it is also, the recent research says, can be used as a nutritive food. In the research perspective, you can see usnic acid is there, and 800 unique secondary metabolites are being invented from this. So there are lots of bioactive compounds. You also have zinc, copper, iron, as well as vitamin B complex and D2. polysaccharides, as I said earlier, lichen, and certain phenolic compounds and the gyrophoric acid also present. They act as a strong antioxidant. It protects our cells from the cellular damage. You also have atranorin, which promotes wound healing, and inside, if you have any inflammation in the cell or internal organs, so it acts as an anti-inflammatory role. And this is the mind map for that. And as we are all aware of that lichens, kalpasi, which we use it for making biryanis or anything that is in the cooking to promote a very unique flavor, very unique flavor. It has complex sources of unique aromatic compounds. We can call it as in Japanese term umami. That means the savory, which is mouth-watering, which has a fifth taste and depth to the dishes just because of this kalpasi, which is Parmotrema perlatum. It acts as a natural flavor and it also acts as a fixative. And then it adds a very woody, smoky aroma, very subtle woody, smoky aroma, which we feel very good about it. And global use, it has got not just Indian, it is also used in Scandinavian bread, soups and traditional brewing, especially Iceland Moss in beer. And in modern gastronomy, it says that chefs, they use lichens as a foraged ingredient and add unique terroir driven flavors. This is the mind map for that. And tanning and dyeing, in which also these lichens has got an immense usage. At the early days, historical period, we have many different clothings in which the color has been imparted from these lichens. So they act as a natural tanning agent to convert a soft, durable leather, very nice ones. And in dyeing also, without using synthetic chemicals, we can use. And the key chemical processing during this is that ammonia fermentations of lichens. Example lichen is that Rochella, which produces the famous purple dye, which we call it as orchil or oxian. And we use the natural pH indicator, litmus paper, that is also produced from these lichen dyes. Parmelia, which produces fast earth tones, which is simply by boiling with fabric, very beautiful earthy tone it produces. So you can use it for crafts and for heritage conservation and for some sustainable practices. You can use this. So it's a brilliant example for traditional biotechnology, from which you can, from these biological systems, that is from the lichens, using technology, you can make a benefit out of it. And you also know that pH papers that we are using in our chemical laboratories, where you have acidic solution which changes to blue and this red to this. So these things which we commonly use, it comes from these lichens. And here this table clearly shows some of the common dyes like archil, cadmia, litmus, traditional wool dyes and xanthoria dyes. And what are the key lichen sources that can give you these different dyes, what are the colors that they produce on processing, and what is the historical and modern usage of these things. It is given in this table, you can take it down, mind map of this. And this is that earthy colors that they normally produce. Modern fixative combines with dye or stain, which intensifies, or you can say improves its color fastness. So it's somewhat exactly like this one, archil or archin, this color, these colors. And, they are also used in some cosmetics and perfumes. In perfumery, very beautiful perfumes are produced. Please excuse me. Sorry about that, my dog keeps barking. Okay, in perfumery, lichens are prized fixatives that make scents last longer. And you know, chypre, this is one of the very higher end perfume which has got great demand in market. This uses lichens as a base material, and they also serve as a potential antioxidants in anti-aging skincare creams and lotions. They also have, as I said in the earlier slide, anti-inflammatory benefits for the sensitive skin also. So it is a very perfect fusion of traditional aromatic art and the modern cosmetic science. And this is the mind map. Lichens can also be used in brewing and distillation. A long used brewing ingredient in the northern Europe, which is Iceland moss, which offers a sort of slight sweetness in this brewing ingredient. And it acts as a bittering as well as flavoring agent in traditional gruit ales before hops. Provided very natural preservation due to antimicrobial compounds, example like usnic acid. And it has a slight bitter taste also, at the same time slight earthy flavor, astringent flavor notes it has got. So a sort of earthy, very traditional spirit you will get out of it. You have this Icelandic brewing. So this is a very important one, a traditional one which they make it. Kindly put this as a key term and search in a net, and you will see very interesting, very simple procedure for this, which is referred as a black death. Please kindly go through it. So this is all in the flavor science. I will give you some more information about what is gruit ale. It's a beer made using gruit, that means mixture of different kinds of herbs. Instead of hops, here we mean to say hops or green cone like flowers which are added to the beer to give it a sort of bitter taste very specific to the beer and help to preserve it actually. So this is the hop, and this gruit ale, it refers to the herbal mixture. Ale is a type of beer, and what is the difference between this ale and lager? It is that when the yeast ferments at a higher temperature, it stays on the top of top surface of the glass in a kind of firm. But here the same, it goes little bit down. There it does not float on the surface. It produces lager. So these are the two differences. So in the brewing industry, it has got a great importance. And with this we are completing only a part of the economic importance. Rest will continue in the next aspect. So as I always say, please take a notebook and please go to a silent place. You also watch the visuals as well as hear the pronunciation of different words, and some of the words clarifications are given. If you don't find anything very appealing to you, kindly put it in net and search and take down the meaning of it, so that the learning makes really sensible and accessible and useful. Thank you so much.